Hi, my name is Sarah Jerem, and you're watching Artistic Digs. This series shines a spotlight on musical contemporaries who inspire me to talk with them and learn more about their creative space. So, I am so pleased to have as my guest today the one and only Jordana Talsky, who is joining me from Toronto. Thanks so much for being here. Yay!
Love it. Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Yeah, me too. So I'm going to do a little introduction just to introduce this amazing singer. Jordana Talsky is a singer, songwriter, and vocal looper who fuses multi-genre influences into her own sound. She weaves unique interpretations of covers with original material. Jordana has toured extensively and has enjoyed widespread worldwide airplay of her earlier releases, Neither of Either and Standard Deviation. She will be releasing an all-vocal looping EP in August 2021. Yay, exciting! I'm
Yes,
so excited to hear it. Yeah.
I'm excited to share it.
Yeah. So, do you wanna show us the big reveal?
Just got the physical copies. It's actually still in the cellophane, but here we are. Is it there glares? There,
It's a little. That's okay. We can see it. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
So
fresh off the press.
And it's called?
It is called ZAHAVA, which is my middle name. It's my middle name. It's a Hebrew name, and it means golden. And I mean, if you want, I can explain why I called it after my middle name, if you like.
Please.
The themes of the songs of the album really are about finding home in yourself. It's about, self-awareness and sort of confronting our beliefs and our behaviors and coming to terms with ourselves and our identity and finding paths to home. And this idea of being golden, I was thinking about that and how we're born kind of unblemished and unburdened, right? And then as life happens to us, we acquire our grievances and our griefs and traumas about life, and we lose our intuition and our spirit to that sort of natural golden state. And in my personal development, I've been working in this time in life to kind of get back to the paths to home and really be secure in myself and learn about myself and accept myself. And so I thought that was and also the fact that is my name, I thought that it was sort of an appropriate title for the record, given the content of the record.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Oh, wow. So great. So, okay. So, preceding this, because I've been doing a little, Jordana rabbit hole, checking out all the previous stuff. You've had like an amazing career and so many beautiful releases up till now. So, Standard Deviation. That was your debut album that came out in 2013, was it?
Yeah, 2013. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So this newer, like I've listened to a couple of your singles, which is Oh Yeah and Over the Wall.
Right.
They're available on Spotify and they are so amazing. And just listening to the earlier album, like your first album, to here, can you kind of talk a little bit about like how's the musical journey been going? Because it's been going.
What? Yeah, it is quite different. Yeah, I've also taken a listen. Well, I'll actually say I recorded a show live at the Jazz Bistro that's going to be airing next week. And the material that we did there, I was working with a band, and so we actually revisited some of my old material. So I'll tell you more about that concert in a bit, but I have been listening to my older stuff, and yes, it sounds wildly different. So, I guess I have these disparate influences, and I always have, and I've never really been down the road middle. I am this kind of a singer, and I am making this kind of music. I don't think that's ever me. I had a background in classical music. And then when I was in high school, I went to a high school for performing arts, Earl Haig Secondary in the Claude Watson Arts Program. And there was a lady there, Suba Shankaran, who returned. She had been a student. She returned to teach this vocal jazz ensemble that I was in. And that's where I started getting hooked into jazz. And she's actually been a longtime personal mentor, still, and a beautiful musician in town. And so there were always some different pockets of things. I was listening to like, alternative funk and whatever pop music like of my era, but also was influenced by a lot of earlier music, classical music that I was studying, the jazz. So everything's always stewed together. Sorry, that's really long-winded. But anyways, the first album, Standard Deviation, was kind of my melding of pop and jazz because I had started gigging in town doing the jazz scene stuff, and I love that. But I also, when I wanted to come up with my own arrangements, felt there was more like a funk and pop aspect seeping in there. So I thought, okay, then this is a laneway I want to explore. And so that's how that first album happened. And then, the second album is a little more in what we called it alt pop jazz, alternative pop jazz. It's like a melding of a little more, I guess, alt and indie sounds and some vocal looping. There's 3 songs on that album that are vocal looping. And that was also just coming out of songs that I was writing, because the first album, there were a couple originals, but the rest were covers. The second album was all originals with the exception of 1 cover. And so I found that in the music I was writing, there were even other influences getting thrown in there that I didn't really plan on, but it's just how it was. And then finally now, the progression has been now to do a full vocal looping record, to just kind of take the seeds of what were planted in the second record and explore that even more and see what I can do on my own, making music as one. That's kind of the trajectory. And also, of course, working with different machine, the technology. I'm looking at my machine over there. That influenced the kind of sounds that were coming out for this material. Is that an answer?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I'm gonna take a sip of coffee now.
Yeah, totally. That was great. So like, okay, because I can totally hear that just listening, that evolution of things, and like the little bit of looping that was on neither of either, right?
You got it. Totally, yes.
Okay,
when
good.
People say neither of either, I'm like, no, it's not.
I was listening to it. I was like, oh yeah, no, she's singing neither of either. That's perfect. So you should listen to the album in order to know how to pronounce the title.
Actually, you know what? It's funny because Justin Avedon, who produced the record, he also produced this one. We had a discussion of how we would pronounce it. I remember. And I think we went with, so I think neither of either would be the more UK version, but neither of either was more US friendly. I think that's how we came to that decision.
Cool. It's such a beautiful album. It's so gorgeous. I love your songwriting and like hearing that. So I guess I wanted to know more about your looping process and how that started to, like, what drew you to using a looper and how that became sort of part of your creative process.
Sure. Okay, well, I got the loop machine probably in 2014. And I remember that when I started to get more into songwriting, I needed a fast way to get out ideas. And my theory's not that strong. I've studied it a little, but it's just not that strong. And I always rely more on my ear. So, this in the spirit mode, when you're trying to create and you got these ideas, to have to like run into the piano and then sit there and be like, what is it that I'm hearing? It just took me out of the flow. Mm-hmm. I needed to sing it. I had the ideas. I just need to sing it. And I need to get it out. So I had been looking into a way to do that. And I saw online a jazz singer, Cyril Aimé. You know Cyril Aimé?
No.
She's awesome. She won the Sarah Vaughan competition, and I've been following her career. She's great. And cool. I sent her a note because I saw her working with this loop machine, and she wrote back to me and told me what it was. I had also been experimenting with some apps, just because I was writing, like, I have the voice memo. I'd have them, but then I thought, there's an app here where I can just like record the harmonies. So let me try that. And it slowly progressed. And then eventually I saw her working with this piece of equipment, and I thought, let me think about that. So initially it was for composition purposes that I was working with this loop machine.
Nice.
I wasn't thinking of performing with it. But then, so then that happened. So then I wrote a lot of the material that I wrote on the second album sort of happened with looping, but then we converted them into band songs. We left 3 of them, and those are the vocal looping tracks on that album. But the other stuff also, I was like using the looper to kind of develop the ideas. And then what happened? And then with the release of that album, the popular songs, I think the most popular songs there were the vocal looping material. Like Run is a vocal loop song, and that did well. And so I was asked to perform, that material. And then I was like, and actually, so what happened was the Sing Vocal Arts Festival, they've been hugely supportive of me. I have to say that, like, I really owe them. They're the reason that I think I'm performing with the loop machine as I am today, because back when I released that album, they asked me to perform a live looping set, having heard that material, and they wanted a 15-minute set. And I've never been more scared of performance. So it was about 3 songs, and I had never used the loop machine live. And then for people who aren't aware, there's just a lot that goes on with the loop machine in terms of learning the tech and being able to facilitate the tech while singing. Every venue presents a new problem of the sonics. Like it's just there's a lot to it. So I was very frightened to do this for the first time in front of a live audience, this 15-minute show, but I did it. And it was because of that show that I then sort of proved to myself that I could work with this equipment and I could make music with myself. And I think that's really what got me hooked into, like, okay, now I'm going to commit myself to getting better at this and just like working as a looper. Am I making sense?
Totally.
I'm just rambling, aren't I?
No, this is great.
So okay, where am I? So after that period of time, and I had toured with the record and whatever, then I would just started coming up with ideas. And the way that I work usually is it takes me a few years worth of random ideas, either on the loop machine or in my phone, to then make them into material that I record. And so Justin Avedon, who produced the last record, he was encouraging me to explore the vocal looping. And maybe he suggested to make a vocal looping record. And I kind of put it off for a while. I was like, I don't know. But then I thought, okay, why not? And so he and I and Sarah McCulley worked on production, and we co-wrote some of the songs and formulated what would become this.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's been fun, actually. It's been fun to work with myself. I mean, it's actually part of this whole thing, the process of like coming to terms with yourself and being with yourself, and the paths to home is like confronting all of your criticisms and self-doubt around your abilities and your skills, because you must fail before you succeed at something like this. And I've dealt with a lot of that. So just the whole journey kind of parallels what has become the material on the song.
Wow. That's so beautiful and so authentic and honest. I love it. I love it. It's so inspiring because, you're very independent. Like, this is you. You are it. So,
yeah.
Right? Like, it's pretty liberating. And yeah.
It does feel good. It does feel good. Yes, it does. I think, I mean, I love working with people, and like I said, I just did a gig with people that I haven't worked in 2 years. Actually, it's kind of strange. I had pulled back on doing gigs even before the pandemic because I was starting to prepare this, and I was going into the studio with this, and I kind of wanted to have the space from that. So it was almost, I hate to say, it was almost like natural that there weren't gigs with people anymore, because I was already in this zone of working with myself. And yeah, I think I wanted to explore what I could do on my own, as much as I love working with people. And now it's even more enjoyable, because it's a different thing. It's like going back to this other thing of working with people.
Your process of this journey for yourself, because I feel like the project that I've been writing for the past few years has been about self-awareness as well, and also going home in a way. I mean, themes of other things too, but there's especially the self-awareness.
Yeah, I think it comes. I think we are all on a journey to know ourselves, and I think that like now, I think it's like ever important, never more important than now, when we have all these outside sources that are kind of pushing in, and pressures that to go within and be with yourself and learn what's important for you, and what's true for you. Like, it's really, I think, I think it's really crucial at this time for people to make that examination.
Absolutely. I think all the successful artists, I mean, successful, what does that mean? But, you know, like, think of like Joni Mitchell and the things like she was told way back in the day when she was first starting out, and some of her adversities, and people saying, oh, you know, like she was criticized for Blue for being too personal.
Right. Oh, can you imagine? That aged well.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it is so revealing. That, I mean, that album that just kills me, that album. And I can imagine, or I can't imagine, but I can sort of imagine how that could be, I don't know, like bruising, or you make you self-conscious because you're like the first to, you're really like,
yeah,
it's a watershed thing that you're doing here. But wow, yeah, she had guts. I was gonna say balls, but then I don't like to say that anymore. She had ovaries.
Yeah. Yes. You're just if you're afraid all the time, then you're never going to write. Period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the industry's changing so much, and it's so like impossible anyways, that like, why would we even try to figure out what we think the industry wants? Because I'm just, I don't care. I mean, I care because it's something that I wanted to find a home, but also I just find that whole game doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you. That's what's hard about being an independent artist, that you kind of unfortunately have to have this business minded. You have to have the business thing in mind. But I'm not a business person, and I don't like being a business person.
Well, so you have the Jazz Bistro show coming. This was a pre-recorded concert.
Yeah, it's through the Downtown Yonge BIA and Coalition Music and Jazz Bistro and Jazz FM. So it's called Play the Parks on Location, and we're on location at the Jazz Bistro. There's different genres being explored around the city, different venues of different genres, and so I'm part of the jazz contingent. And so yeah, it's been really, it was amazing to just go back there, play with the cats, enjoy the space. Yeah, it felt really joyful.
Oh, good. And do you know what the air date of that concert?
Yes, I do. I don't know if this interview will air after that. It's July 29th.
Okay.
There might be, but it'll probably be online after, even if this airs afterwards. It's July 29th on the Downtown Yonge BIA Facebook page. And if anyone follows me, I've got the links to that too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
I'm excited. I haven't seen it, so I'm very excited to see it. And I also have that we do a song with the Loop Machine and band. Oh yeah, that's, I think, another step. I've done it a couple times where I work with the Loop Machine and instruments. And it is quite tricky, but it's fun when it works. It's awesome. Yeah. So we did a song that way, and it's kind of going to maybe hopefully show the whole arc stuff.
Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to watch it. Yay.
Thanks. Yes. There's actually another gig that I have. It's actually being put on in tandem with the Sing Vocal Arts Festival and the TU Jazz Fest that I'm going to be performing live on August 6th at Ontario Place. And it's a free ticketed event, so you got to get the tickets, but it's free. And I'm going to be doing a vocal looping set there live.
Sweet. Nice. Yeah. That's so exciting.
Yes. And hopefully some other things for the launch of the album. Actually, there's a couple more. Can I say a couple more? I'm going to be recording the live version of these songs for the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts. And then that broadcast will be available through their channels. So if people want to check out me doing the songs live, they can check that out. I'll have it all on my socials when that's available. But that's just something to see, because it's also being in the studio version of the loop songs is slightly different from the live version, because my whole ethos of working with the machine is not to have any pre-recorded parts when I'm working live. Everything happens on the spot. In the studio, where you can stop and start, and when you're also thinking about the length of the song for radio or whatever, sometimes parts come in all at once. And so the studio versions are slightly different, but I've tried to stay as close as I can to the studio versions in replicating it live. but you will get sort of a different thing. You'll be able to see how it all comes together live. So I'm excited about that.
That's amazing. Cool. What date was that one?
The Richmond Hill Center date, that's not been decided yet. So just people should subscribe to me and I will be letting them know. But the Ontario Place live event is August 6th.
Okay, sweet. Is this your first live show then on August 6th? In a year or
yeah, I mean the one at Jazz Bistro was live but no audience.
Yeah.
So this will be live with an audience. Yes, indeed.
Have you ever checked out Theo Bleckman's performances with looping?
I know the name and I think I came across but didn't really go deep, but I think I need to. Yes.
Yeah.
There are some people I've connected with online who use the loop machine, and it's been cool to have I can ask them questions and see how they work with the machine, because it's so different. Like I find, yeah, you can watch videos on like how to beatbox and you can watch videos on how they loop, but you really find your own way of doing it, and that influences the sound you're making with the machine. So that's what's cool about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so unique.
Theo Bleckman.
Yeah. Check out his, I think it's on YouTube still, maybe, but his Kate Bush concert. It's really beautiful. So he has live band and a looper. And plus I just love the music of Kate Bush. So it's like,
I just lost my earring.
Oh no.
I just heard it fall. Yeah, this is how it should look.
Oh, pretty.
There's definitely so much more to learn and hear about how people use that machine and the looping. So it's like a journey that will never end. And there's so much more I want to do. Like, there's this piece of equipment. Sorry, this is not, I just cover my hair. We'll just pretend.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's this new piece of equipment that I was trying to integrate. It's pretty tricky. It's called Vocally Doubler, and it's a microphone that acts as a MIDI controller, so that you can make sounds with your voice, but you'll actually be triggering instrument sounds. Like if you want to sample instruments in Ableton, and then you can loop them. But that's like, it's a new thing that I'm trying to incorporate into the rig. And there's just endless. You could do that. You could work with Ableton and other sampling. You can loop other kinds of instruments. It goes on and on and on. So I feel, as much as I feel like I've done a lot and learned a lot and really develop this thing, there's just endless more to do and learn and explore and improve on, and that's a good challenge.
Absolutely.
Just like the voice, just like anything in life, you never really get to the end.
Exactly. That's so cool. So who have been your influences, maybe vocally as well as looping? So I feel like those are maybe not separate categories, but
I found that sometimes a hard question, and I've tried to think about it. I think early on I was influenced by strong technicians, because I came from this classical background, studied opera, technique, big on technique. So I was drawn to voices that were technically strong, like, Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, Sarah Vaughan, and also classical singers that are just like, deep. And then with the other music I was listening to, I also became interested in different sounding voices and in the delivery. So like we'll use Fiona Apple as an example. Like nice. her sound, her voice is not technically perfect, but her delivery is so just compelling. And so people like her, Bjork, Alanis Morissette, the emotion, the feeling. And then also like groovy, funky stuff, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, who also is very, technically strong. I'd say that those two things of like technically strong and also just so compelling in terms of their delivery are the two ways that I come to be influenced by singers. And music-wise, sometimes I'm into like smart music. Too much, so maybe that's what led me into jazz and fusion. Who's calling me? Tim Hamill. Hey, my buddy Tim. I'm gonna have to let this one go to voicemail, Tim.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just different kinds of music. All around. It's not a very good answer, right? Like it's just so different all the time. I can't find a way that it's ever a reason. I can't pick a reason.
Just like, but by
What about you? Like,
oh,
yeah.
with music.
What attracts you to what you listen to?
Oh man, yeah, that is a difficult question, isn't it? I would say music that I feel is honest. You know, that I can, connect to. And it doesn't have to be a specific genre, you know?
Yeah.
I'm all into just whatever music is good music. And that, like this, I think as a singer too, like we feel that emotional, authenticity pretty deeply. And yeah, so anything that's interesting and anything that kind of like makes you think about it a lot after you've listened to it for the first time,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And also that's that thing that you can't quite place. It's just whatever that thing is that is magic that connects with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it necessarily should be anything. We shouldn't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's the magic. Yay. Exactly. I know. But it is interesting to hear about those early influences because okay, so you studied classically, but you've got like this beautiful chesty belt. Where did that come from? Where's the training for that? Who were your teachers?
Who are my teachers?
Yeah. Or
I mean, I didn't study with a Broadway coach. I studied with opera coaches. Yeah. So let me think about that. Where would that have come from? I mean, I did some musical theater, but maybe it was from listening to musicals as a kid. I would listen. And it must have been just like, I think it was the classical training that I had.
Nice.
I think that just gave me a good foundation for all kinds of singing. And then I did actually later on take some pointers about maybe I should attribute it to Barbara Streisand. I think so, actually. Probably just like heard her and I was like, yeah, let's do that.
Good choice.
Yeah, I remember. And also, so people I've listened to and listening to musicals as a kid, but I think just having the strong foundation of the technique of singing from a classical perspective really just lets you do anything. I would always recommend having some classical training or really like choral training. It started with choir. That was like the biggest and most important education for me.
Yeah.
Choir.
Yeah. Choir is super important. 100%. Yeah, and of course Barbara Streisand. That's cool. I wanted to ask about your lyric writing. How did that start? When did that start? And what's that process like for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was not someone who wrote. I haven't been writing songs for that long. I had creative writing is something I've done since I was a kid, but not songwriting. Mm-hmm. I started writing for the first album. It was suggested to me. I think Scott Metcalf suggested, who co-produced the record. I think he suggested to me, like, yeah, put some originals on there. So then that led me to start writing. And then I had sort of done some, random, not journaling, but like just writing down random stuff as a way to get stuff out. Usually stuff that's hard, like the troublesome, the pain. The writing usually comes out of a need to express myself, some kind of a difficult emotion. I don't always go to the page with, a not difficult emotion, in the past, at least. I consider myself a novice songwriter, or at least, to be a novice songwriter, because I always have to write from my perspective. I'm not yet at a point where I'm writing it from the perspective of another character. It's always coming from me. And I think that, I'd like to write from other perspectives. I think that's the mark of maybe more developed songwriter who can really plunk themselves into a whole other thing. But that's not really where operate from. And so let's see, lyrics. Sometimes, you know, I think for this album, I would have just random one-line ideas. I'd put them in the phone, and then maybe I'd return later to them and try to take one line, and think about where that line came from and why, and what else I could say about it. For this record, the co-writes were just absolutely amazing experiences, and I really learned a lot about lyric writing during this time with Justin Avedon and Sarah McCulley. Like, we would hang here, that we did pre-production here in my home, which was great. It was like another kind of through line with the whole album making process of home and being in a, you know, your comfortable space. And I would bring them the ideas, and then we would sort of parse them apart. And I would get, you know, questioning of like, what are you trying to say here, and why? And really like digging down deep into the emotional roots of what I was saying to try to get rid of the, sometimes, like I said, I can try to be smart and over wordy, and like they kind of try to strip that down, take that away, because less is more. And so we would have these sessions where we do all of that, and then they would go away, and then I would have some time to like be with that and process it all and then revise. And it was so great. It just felt like, I'm just such a nerd. It felt like, oh yeah, okay, so they gave me this homework to make it better. I'm gonna
yes.
homework. and just having the tasks, because it's so just random and is it esoteric? Is that the word? Just like the songwriting experience is so random. I think I've never been good at like, oh, I'm sitting down and I'm writing a song. It's like, I don't really have that discipline. It's like when it comes to me, then I do it. And then I have to go back and I have to puzzle things together. So having this experience where they were helping me through that and working on it with me was so good to help focus ideas and get the right lyrics in.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. I find it hard. It's not an easy thing for me to write lyrics.
Same here. It takes forever.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces.
And I go off on tangents. I remember we were sitting here and like one of the things, for one of the songs, I was like thinking of all these ideas. Let's write about this. Maybe it's about this, and then this, and they're like, wait. You want to just like, there's a lot there. Let's just go start one at a time. And then it turns out, oh yeah, that was enough. Let's focus on this one idea, because there's a lot we can say and express around this one idea instead of like.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, editing is powerful. That's so cool. And it really kind of like, you have to kind of psychoanalyze your own work.
Totally. And it's cool because I like that stuff. I like analysis and why are we thinking the way who are we? Why do we think the way we do? And what has influenced me to become this person? Yeah, I enjoy that. Yeah. It was good. It wasn't, you know, I think that in the other records I've made, maybe there's more like stress, I guess, around it. This was a more joyful record making process. I think actually it's because I set that intention. I remember sitting here and I said, like, you're gonna have fun with this. Like, this is a blessing to be able to make this record, and like, just try to enjoy yourself, man. And I think that real shift in my perspective came through, and I'm glad about that. I'm going to try to always carry that in the things I do.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. So inspiring.
I love the backdrop with all the CDs.
Oh, thank you.
That's so cool.
Rob used to work at Sam the Record Man back in the day.
Sam the Record Man, I know it.
And so he didn't make a lot of money working there because he like spent all his money on CDs.
That's great. It looks cool though.
I saw that actually on your website that you have a Patreon page.
I do. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I thought now was the right time. So you know, it's a way for fans to support me beyond just listening to the music. People have also, part of the reason I launched it is people have asked me from time to time about my process and about the vocal looping. And so I wanted a forum for that. So one of the tiers is actually designed for people who want to understand more about looping, where I talk about the machinery and go through my music making process. That's what that tier is going to be for. So I just thought that it could be a fun way to do a little bit of extra and behind the scenes stuff there. So if people want to check that out, check out the Patreon. I think it's going to be fun. And also in this time, it's a great way to connect with people. We haven't seen people in so long. And this is a way I've got one of the things is a chat. We have chats, private chats. And I like hanging with people and showing people what I've learned.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Cool. Honestly, I don't know enough about Patreon yet. I'm just starting to explore Patreon, but it sounds like so super cool. And as you said, a great way to connect and learn and just like support art.
Yes, supporting the artists.
Yeah,
I think there are actually a lot of people that want to do that and may not know how. And this is like a really ideal way to do that.
Yeah, awesome. And you have a Bandcamp page where all your music is available.
Yes, the album's out on August 27, awesome. And everything will be available.
Awesome.
And I'm also, if you want the hard copy, there's also an option there. Order a hard copy.
Sweet. And it's on Spotify, so pre-save on Spotify.
The pre-save, I don't know when this is airing, but I've got the pre-save links ready to go in my bio. I'm going to be, I'll put it up next week.
Okay.
For the full EP to it.
Yay, good. Because pre-saving is very, very important for independent artists. It's just like, it takes a minute to just click, but then it helps the artist and the album with all sorts of
algorithms. It does. Yes, please do it.
Yeah. It's super helpful.
The links are in my bio.
Awesome.
Maybe we can, I don't know.
There's going to be happening right now. Cool. This is so great. Jordana, thank you so much.
My pleasure. This is very chill and fun.
Yeah, good. Before you finish up, there's a piece that you're going to perform.
It's one of the songs from the album performed live. It's called Trouble Up. And it's probably the song that was written first. And one of the songs that just kind of came out. Most songwriting I do, it's like a longer process where I have to puzzle things together and I rework and but rarely, sometimes a song just comes out. And this song just sort of came out in one shot.
Sweet. I can't wait to hear it. So Trouble Up by Jordana Talsky.
I can't keep my thoughts and I can't keep my thoughts straight in my mind. I'm having some trouble up inside. I can't sit still in one place, can't look too hard into your face. I'm having some trouble up inside. Reaching out, I'm wide awake, got bullets flying to contemplate. I'm having some trouble up inside. Scattered, desperate and confused, I bumped my head and now I'm bruised and having some trouble up inside. Trouble inside. Doctor, give me pill to take day and day. I can't seem to fake. I'm having some trouble up inside. Yeah. Whoa, I can't keep my thoughts in line. Yeah, I got trouble up inside. Yeah, I can't keep my thoughts in line. Yeah, got trouble up inside. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Trouble's got me in my mind. Trouble's got me all my life. Trouble's got me. I'm trying hard to fight this trouble up inside. Yeah. Yeah. Straight in my mind, I'm having some trouble up inside. I'm looking for a freedom train, but bondage in a knowing game. I'm having some trouble up inside. Yeah. Oh, I can't keep my thoughts in line. Yeah, I got trouble up inside. Yeah, I can't keep my thoughts in line. Yeah, got trouble up inside. Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah. Trouble's got me in my mind. Trouble's got me all my life. Trouble's got me. I'm trying hard to fight this trouble up inside. Yeah.